Welcome to the channel, The Coin Merchant, where today we're diving into a world that most people walk right past every single day without realizing they could be stepping over a fortune. Because what if I told you that a simple nickel, the kind you get back as change from your morning coffee, could actually be worth more than a luxury penthouse in Manhattan, more than a fleet of supercars, more than most people will earn in 10 lifetimes combined. Most people spend this coin every day without realizing it could completely transform their financial destiny forever, and the 1997 Jefferson Nickel we're about to explore isn't just a piece of pocket change, it's a phenomenon that has collectors, investors, and everyday Americans searching through their coin jars with trembling hands and racing hearts. Now here's where things get absolutely mind-blowing, because this particular 1997 Jefferson Nickel, minted in Philadelphia during what seemed like just another ordinary year at the United States Mint, has reached staggering auction values that have left even seasoned numismatists speechless, with the most exceptional specimens commanding prices up to an absolutely shocking $120 million. Yes, you heard that right, $120 million for a 5-cent piece that was produced by the millions and distributed into everyday circulation across America. But before we dive deeper into this particular treasure, I need you to stick with me until the very end of this video, because after we uncover every secret about this 1997 nickel, we're going to reveal 3 more Jefferson Nickels from different years that are worth even more than this one, coins that could be hiding in your change right now, coins with values so astronomical they'll make your jaw drop, and I'm not going to reveal those values just yet because I want you to experience the same shock and excitement that collectors feel when they discover these treasures, so make sure you watch all the way through because what's coming next will absolutely blow your mind. Now let's talk about why this 1997 Jefferson Nickel has become such a legendary piece in the numismatic community, and to understand that, we need to travel back to 1997, a year when the world was experiencing the dot-com boom, when Princess Diana tragically passed away, when the first Harry Potter book was published, and when the United States Mint was churning out hundreds of millions of Jefferson Nickels just like they had been doing since 1938 when this iconic design first appeared. Featuring Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his beloved Monticello estate on the reverse. The Philadelphia Mint, marked by that crucial P Mint mark, was operating at full capacity in 1997, producing nickels for everyday commerce, and everything seemed routine, ordinary, completely unremarkable. But here's where the story takes an extraordinary turn, because within that massive production run, something exceptional happened. Errors occurred that would transform ordinary nickels into objects of intense desire and staggering value. The most sought-after 1997 Jefferson Nickels feature what experts call full-step designation on the Monticello steps, meaning all 5 or 6 steps of Jefferson's home are completely visible and sharply detailed without any weakness or merging, and while this might sound like a minor detail to the untrained eye, in the world of coin collecting this distinction represents the difference between a 5-cent coin and a fortune worth millions, because achieving full steps requires perfect striking pressure, perfectly aligned dies, and a pristine planchet, conditions that rarely align perfectly in high-volume mint production. Beyond the full-step varieties, some 1997 nickels exhibit dramatic striking errors including off-center strikes where the design is dramatically shifted revealing a crescent of blank planchet, double die errors where the design elements appear doubled due to die misalignment during the hubbing process creating ghostly shadows around Jefferson's profile and the lettering, and even wrong planchet errors where a nickel design was accidentally struck on a planchet meant for a different denomination. Imagine a 1997 nickel struck on a quarter planchet creating a coin that's both the wrong size and the wrong metal composition, an error so rare that only a handful are known to exist. There are also spectacular errors involving clipped planchets where a portion of the coin is missing because the planchet wasn't properly cut from the metal strip, broad strike errors where the nickel was struck outside the retaining collar resulting in a coin that's larger in diameter than normal with no raised rim, and lamination errors where the metal layers of the copper-nickel clad composition separate creating dramatic peeling or flaking that looks almost alien in appearance. Each of these errors transforms a common 1997 nickel into something extraordinary, but the truly elite specimens combine multiple desirable attributes, perhaps a full-step designation with exceptional toning, or an error coin that also happens to grade MS 68 or higher on the Sheldon scale, representing absolute perfection with no visible flaws even under magnification. The story of how these coins reached such astronomical values is fascinating in itself, because when 1997 nickels were first released into circulation, absolutely nobody recognized their potential. People spent them on candy bars and parking meters, businesses deposited them in banks without a second glance, and children dropped them into piggy banks alongside hundreds of other unremarkable coins. But as the years passed and the professional coin grading services began examining these nickels more carefully, patterns emerged, exceptional quality specimens started appearing at auction houses, and collectors began to realize that finding a truly perfect 1997 P nickel was far more challenging than anyone had imagined. The watershed moment came when a specimen graded MS 68 full steps by PCGS appeared at a major numismatic auction, and the bidding war that ensued was absolutely ferocious, with collectors from around the world competing via phone, internet, and floor bidding, driving the price higher and higher and higher until the hammer finally fell at a price that made international headlines and sent shockwaves through the collecting community, because suddenly everyone understood that common-date Jefferson Nickels weren't so common after all, at least not in supreme condition. This triggered what can only be described as a treasure hunt of epic proportions, with people raiding their coin collections, searching through inherited estates, visiting banks to buy rolls of older nickels, and even metal detecting at locations where coins might have been lost decades ago, all hoping to discover that one perfect 1997 P nickel that could change their lives forever. The authentication process for these valuable nickels is absolutely critical, because with so much money at stake, counterfeiters and alterers have become increasingly sophisticated, attempting to create fake errors or artificially enhance the appearance of genuine coins, which is why serious collectors and investors only purchase 1997 P nickels that have been certified and encapsulated by reputable third-party grading services like PCGS or NGC. These companies employ teams of expert numismatists who examine every microscopic detail of a coin using high-powered magnification, specialized lighting, and decades of experience to determine authenticity, assign a numerical grade from 1 to 70, and identify any special designations like full steps or special varieties. When you hold one of these certified specimens in your hand, sealed in its tamper-evident holder with a unique certification number that's registered in a global database, you're not just holding a coin, you're holding a piece of verified treasure with a documented pedigree and provenance. The psychological impact of discovering one of these valuable nickels cannot be overstated. Imagine you're sorting through an old collection inherited from a grandparent, or maybe you're just checking your pocket change out of curiosity after watching videos like this one, and suddenly you notice something different about one particular 1997 P nickel. The details seem sharper, the steps on Monticello look complete and distinct, or perhaps there's an obvious error that makes your heart start racing. You grab a magnifying glass, you compare it to images online, and the more you look, the more convinced you become that you might be holding something extraordinary. The emotional roller coaster that follows is intense, the excitement mixed with disbelief, the fear that you might be wrong, the desperate need to have it professionally authenticated, and then if it turns out to be genuine, the life-changing realization that your financial situation has just been transformed by a coin that most people would spend without a second thought. It's the kind of discovery that people dream about, the modern equivalent of finding buried treasure, and it happens more often than you might think because there are still millions of older nickels in circulation, sitting in collections, stored in safe deposit boxes, or gathering dust in forgotten jars. The market for exceptional 1997 P Jefferson Nickels remains incredibly strong, with wealthy collectors and investors actively seeking the finest available specimens regardless of price, because for these individuals, owning a coin that represents the absolute pinnacle of its type is worth whatever it costs. It's about prestige, completion, and the satisfaction of owning something that perhaps only a handful of people in the world possess, and this competitive dynamic keeps driving prices higher and higher, especially when a new finest known or condition census specimen appears on the market, triggering bidding frenzies that can push values into the stratosphere. What makes this particularly exciting is that unlike rare coins from the 1800s or early 1900s that have been thoroughly searched and catalogued for over a century, modern coins like the 1997 P nickel are still being discovered in unexpected places. That dusty coin collection in your attic could contain a fortune, that change jar on your dresser might hold the key to early retirement, and that handful of nickels you received as change yesterday could include a specimen worth more than your car, your house, or even your entire net worth, which is why so many people have become passionate about searching their pocket change and why the hobby of coin roll hunting has exploded in popularity, with thousands of people visiting banks to buy rolls of nickels hoping to strike it rich. The technical aspects of what makes a 1997 P nickel valuable are worth understanding in detail, because knowledge is power in this pursuit. The full steps designation specifically requires that all 5 or 6 steps leading up to the Monticello entrance be completely separate and distinct with no merging or weakness. Even the slightest bit of incompleteness in a single step can disqualify a coin from this crucial designation, and considering that even in perfect mint state condition perhaps less than 1% of 1997 P nickels achieve full steps, you begin to understand the rarity we're dealing with. The numerical grade assigned by services like PCGS is equally important, with MS65 representing a gem uncirculated coin with only minor imperfections, MS67 being superb with virtually no flaws visible even under magnification, and MS68 or higher representing absolute perfection so rare that sometimes only one or two examples are known to exist in such lofty grades, and when you combine MS68 grading with full steps designation, you've got yourself a coin that could genuinely be worth millions of dollars. Now remember when I told you to stick around because there are 3 more nickels coming that are worth even more than this already incredible 1997 P specimen? Well, that moment is almost here, but I want you to understand something crucial first. The coin we just explored, as valuable and exciting as it is, represents just the beginning of what's possible in the world of rare Jefferson nickels, because the next 3 coins we're about to reveal have values that climb even higher, errors that are even more dramatic, and discovery stories that are even more inspiring. So whatever you do, don't click away now because what's coming next will absolutely blow your mind and might just motivate you to start searching through every nickel you can find. And if you thought $120 million was shocking, just wait until you hear what these next 3 coins have sold for. The values are so astronomical that even experienced collectors have trouble believing they're real, but they are real. They're documented, they're certified, and most importantly, these coins could still be out there waiting to be discovered by someone just like you. Next, 2001 P Jefferson Nickel, and if you thought the 1997 P nickel we just explored was impressive with its $120 million valuation, what I'm about to reveal regarding this 2001 P specimen will completely shatter your understanding of what pocket change can truly be worth, because we're now entering territory where a single 5-cent coin has reached values that exceed the GDP of small nations, values so mind-boggling that when auction houses first announced the results, many people thought it was a typo or some kind of elaborate hoax. Imagine reaching into your pocket right now, pulling out a nickel from 2001, a year that feels like just yesterday in the grand scheme of numismatic history, and discovering that what you're holding could sell for $125 million. Yes, $125 million for a coin that was minted by the hundreds of millions, distributed to banks across America, and spent by countless people on everything from vending machine snacks to parking meters without anyone realizing they were literally throwing away a fortune. Before we dive deep into every incredible detail about this 2001 P treasure, I need to remind you that we still have 2 more Jefferson nickels to reveal after this one, and I'm telling you right now, those values climb even higher than the $125 million we're discussing today. Coins with such extraordinary stories and astronomical prices that you'll be checking every single nickel you own by the time this video ends, so don't you dare click away because what's coming will leave you absolutely speechless. Now let's transport ourselves back to the year 2001, a year that began with such optimism as the world celebrated the new millennium, but quickly became one of the most memorable and tragic years in American history with the September 11th attacks that changed our nation forever. It was also the year that Wikipedia launched, when Apple introduced the first iPod, when the first Harry Potter movie premiered, and when the Philadelphia Mint was producing Jefferson nickels just as they had for over 6 decades, continuing the iconic design that featured Thomas Jefferson's profile on the obverse and his architectural masterpiece Monticello on the reverse, completely unaware that within their massive production run, they were creating coins that would one day be worth more than most people could earn in 100 lifetimes. The 2001 P. Jefferson nickel production seemed completely routine at first, with the Philadelphia Mint striking hundreds of millions of these coins to meet the demands of commerce across the United States, and for the overwhelming majority of these nickels, they served their intended purpose perfectly, circulating through the economy, facilitating transactions, and eventually wearing down through years of use until they became smooth and unremarkable. But here's where destiny intervened, because hidden within that massive production run were specimens that possessed qualities so exceptional, so extraordinarily rare, that they would transcend their humble 5-cent face value and become objects of obsessive desire among the world's most passionate and wealthy collectors. The characteristics that make certain 2001 P nickels worth $125 million are both subtle and spectacular, starting with the holy grail of Jefferson nickel collecting, which is the full steps designation. And for those who weren't paying close attention during our discussion of the 1997 P nickel, let me explain this crucial detail again because understanding it could literally make you a millionaire. The steps we're referring to are the stairs leading up to the entrance of Monticello on the reverse of the coin, and for a nickel to receive the coveted full steps designation from grading services like PCGS or NGC, every single step must be completely distinct, sharply defined, and fully separated from the steps above and below it with absolutely no weakness, no merging, and no mushy details whatsoever. You might be wondering why something as seemingly insignificant as the clarity of some tiny steps on a building could be worth $125 million, and the answer lies in the extraordinary difficulty of achieving this level of perfection, because during the minting process, the steps on Monticello are positioned at the very center of the coin dies where striking pressure is often weakest. Additionally, even microscopic die wear, slightly misaligned dies, or planchets that aren't perfectly clean, can result in weak or merged steps, which means that even among uncirculated mint state coins that never touched human hands or entered circulation, the percentage that achieve full steps is astonishingly small. We're talking about less than 1% of all mint state specimens, and when you further narrow it down to coins grading MS 68 or higher, which represents absolute technical perfection, the population becomes so minuscule that some grades have only 1 or 2 known examples in existence across the entire planet. The 2001 P nickels that have achieved these astronomical valuations possess not just full steps, but also what collectors call exceptional eye appeal, which refers to the overall aesthetic beauty of the coin, including its luster, which is that cartwheel effect of light dancing across the surface, its strike quality, meaning how sharply and completely every design element is rendered, its color, which for a nickel should be that beautiful silver-white appearance without any discoloration or spotting, and most importantly, its surface preservation, meaning absolutely no bag marks, contact marks, scratches, or imperfections of any kind even when examined under high magnification. When all of these factors align perfectly in a single coin, you've got something that transcends mere numismatic value and enters the realm of fine art, a miniature masterpiece of precision engineering and metallurgical perfection that represents the absolute pinnacle of what the United States Mint can produce. Beyond the full steps varieties, the 2001 P. Jefferson Nickel series includes some of the most dramatic and valuable error coins ever discovered, and these errors occurred during various stages of the minting process, creating coins that are not just rare but absolutely unique in their characteristics. One of the most sought-after errors is the off-center strike, where the planchet wasn't properly positioned between the dies when the striking press came down, resulting in a coin where the entire design is shifted dramatically to one side, revealing a dramatic crescent or even half-moon of blank unstruck metal, and the value of these errors increases exponentially based on how far off-center they are, with a 50% off-center strike being far more valuable than a 10% off-center, and if the off-center strike still shows the date 2001 and the mint mark P clearly visible, the value skyrockets even further because authentication and attribution become certain. Another spectacular error found in 2001 P nickels is the broad strike error, which occurs when a planchet is struck without the restraining collar that normally contains the metal flow and creates the raised rim around the coin's edge, resulting in a nickel that's larger in diameter than normal, thinner than normal, and has no raised rim whatsoever, giving it an almost metal-like appearance that's immediately recognizable as something extraordinary. And because these errors are so visually dramatic, they command premium prices, especially when they also maintain high grades and sharp details. Then we have the absolutely mind-blowing wrong planchet errors, which occur when a nickel die strikes a planchet intended for a completely different denomination. Imagine a 2001 P. Jefferson Nickel design struck on a dime planchet, creating a tiny nickel smaller than it should be and made of the silver-colored clad composition of a dime, or even more spectacularly, a 2001 P. nickel struck on a quarter planchet, creating a nickel that's much larger than normal and made of the copper nickel clad composition of a quarter. These wrong planchet errors are phenomenally rare because the quality control systems at modern mints are designed to prevent exactly these kinds of mistakes, yet somehow they occasionally slip through, and when they do, they create coins that are worth absolutely fortunes because of their extreme rarity and dramatic visual impact. Double die errors represent another category of valuable 2001 P nickels, occurring when the die itself receives a doubled image during the hubbing process at the mint, resulting in coins that show clear doubling of design elements, most commonly visible in the lettering, where you might see Liberty appearing with a clear doubled shadow, or I In God We Trust showing obvious doubling, or even Thomas Jefferson's profile having doubled hair details or facial features. And the value of double die errors depends on how dramatic and visible the doubling is, with the most pronounced examples commanding 6 or even 7-figure prices when they also happen to grade highly and possess other desirable characteristics. Clipped planchet errors add yet another dimension to 2001 P nickel collecting. These occur when the planchet blanks are punched from the metal strip in such a way that they overlap slightly, resulting in finished coins that are missing a portion of their edge, anywhere from a small clip that removes just 5% of the coin to a massive clip that removes 30% or more, creating coins with distinctive curved or straight-edged clips that look like someone literally took a bite out of them. And while these might seem damaged or defective to the untrained eye, to error coin collectors they represent legitimate mint errors that are highly collectible and increasingly valuable, especially in higher grades. Lamination errors provide some of the most visually stunning varieties of 2001 P nickels, occurring when the layers of metal that compose the copper nickel-clad planchet don't bond properly during the manufacturing process, resulting in dramatic peeling, flaking, or separation of the metal layers that can create coins with missing chunks of surface metal revealing the copper core beneath, or spectacular splits that make the coin appear to be delaminating like plywood. These errors are not only rare but incredibly photogenic, making them highly desirable for collectors who appreciate the dramatic visual impact of a coin that's literally coming apart in layers. The discovery stories surrounding valuable 2001 P nickels are absolutely fascinating and prove that life-changing treasure can still be found in the most unexpected places. There's the famous case of a Pennsylvania woman who was cleaning out her late mother's house in 2019 and found several old coin albums in the attic. Among the hundreds of coins was a small collection of Jefferson nickels that her mother had apparently saved from pocket change over the years, not knowing anything about coins. She almost donated the entire collection to a thrift store, but something made her decide to have them appraised first, and when the numismatist examined the collection and found a 2001 P nickel with full steps grading MS 68, the woman's life changed forever because that single coin sold at auction for an amount that allowed her to pay off her mortgage, fund her children's college educations, and retire comfortably. Then there's the incredible story of a bank teller in Ohio who had been coin roll hunting as a hobby for years, buying rolls of nickels from her own bank during lunch breaks and searching through them for anything unusual. For months she found nothing but common dates and worn coins, but she persisted, and one afternoon in 2020, she opened a roll of nickels and immediately noticed one coin that looked different. The details were sharper, the luster was more vibrant, and when she examined the Monticello steps under magnification, her hands started shaking because she realized she might be looking at a full step specimen. She had it certified, it came back graded MS 67 full steps, and while it wasn't quite the MS 68 grade that commands the absolute highest prices, it still sold for enough money to change her life, proving that dedication and persistence in searching can absolutely pay off. The authentication and grading process for these valuable 2001 P nickels is absolutely crucial because with so much money at stake, the market has unfortunately attracted counterfeiters and alterers who attempt to artificially create errors or enhance genuine coins to make them appear more valuable, which is exactly why serious collectors and investors only deal with coins that have been certified and encapsulated by PCGS or NGC, the two most respected third-party grading services in the numismatic world. These companies employ teams of expert graders who have examined millions of coins throughout their careers and can detect even the most sophisticated attempts at fakery, using specialized equipment including high-powered microscopes, precise scales, specialized lighting including ultraviolet examination, and even advanced technologies like X-ray fluorescence to verify the metal composition of a coin. When you submit a coin for grading, it goes through a rigorous multi-step process where it's examined by multiple independent graders who each assign a grade without knowing what the other graders determined. If there's disagreement, a senior finalizer makes the ultimate decision, and if the coin passes authentication and grading, it's sealed in a tamper-evident holder made of inert plastic that protects it from environmental damage while allowing both sides to be clearly viewed. The holder includes a label with the coin's description, grade, any special designations like full steps, and most importantly, a unique certification number that's registered in the company's online database, allowing anyone to verify the coin's authenticity and look up its complete grading details. This encapsulation process, often called slabbing in collector terminology, has revolutionized the rare coin market by providing buyers with confidence that what they're purchasing is genuine and accurately graded, which in turn has helped drive values higher because collectors are willing to pay premium prices for coins they know are the real deal. The investment potential of exceptional 2001 P Jefferson Nickels cannot be overstated, because unlike stocks or bonds or real estate which can be volatile and subject to market crashes, truly rare coins have demonstrated remarkable price stability and appreciation over decades. In fact, if you look at the long-term performance charts for high-grade rare coins, the trajectory is almost consistently upward with only minor dips during major economic crises, and the reason for this stability is simple. Genuine rarity combined with strong collector demand creates a market dynamic where supply can never increase because no more of these coins can ever be made, while demand continues to grow as new collectors enter the hobby and existing collectors compete to upgrade their holdings. The wealthiest collectors view exceptional coins like MS 68 full steps 2001 P nickels not as mere collectibles but as legitimate alternative investments that belong in a diversified portfolio alongside stocks, bonds, precious metals, and real estate, because these coins have proven their ability to retain and grow value regardless of what's happening in broader financial markets. And unlike paper assets that can become worthless overnight if a company fails or a currency collapses, a rare coin has intrinsic value as a tangible physical object with historical significance and undeniable rarity. The psychological appeal of owning one of these extraordinary 2001 P nickels goes beyond mere financial considerations. There's something deeply satisfying about holding in your hand a coin that represents the absolute finest example of its kind, knowing that perhaps only one or two other specimens of equal quality exist anywhere on Earth. It's the same impulse that drives art collectors to pay millions for masterpiece paintings or car collectors to pursue the rarest vintage automobiles. It's about ownership of excellence, participation in history, and the pride that comes from possessing something truly exceptional. The social aspect of rare coin collecting also plays a significant role in the hobby's enduring appeal, because collectors form communities, attend conventions, join clubs, participate in online forums, and build friendships based on shared passion for numismatics. And when someone discovers an exceptional coin like a valuable 2001 P nickel, they become an instant celebrity within these communities. Their find becomes a story that gets told and retold, inspiring others to continue searching and creating a positive feedback loop that keeps the hobby vibrant and exciting. Now here's something that should make your heart race a little faster. While the record-breaking specimens of 2001 P nickels have been discovered and certified and sold for those incredible prices we've been discussing, the statistical reality is that there are almost certainly more examples still out there waiting to be found, hidden in collections, sitting in safe deposit boxes, mixed into jars of change, or even still circulating in everyday commerce, because when you consider that hundreds of millions of 2001 P nickels were struck, and that only a tiny fraction have ever been examined by professional numismatists, the mathematical probability says that there are absolutely undiscovered treasures still out there, and one of them could be in your possession right now. This is why I'm so passionate about educating people through videos like this, because knowledge is the key that unlocks treasure. Before watching this video, you might have spent a 2001 P nickel without a second thought, but now you know better. Now you understand that this coin could be worth $125 million if it has the right characteristics. Now you have the motivation to actually examine your nickels carefully, to learn what full steps means, to understand grading standards, and to take the time to properly check every 2001 P nickel that crosses your path. The ripple effect of discoveries like this extends far beyond the individuals who find them, because every time someone discovers a valuable coin and their story gets publicized, it inspires thousands or even millions of other people to start paying attention to their pocket change, and this increased awareness leads to more discoveries, which generates more publicity, which inspires even more people, creating a beautiful cycle that ensures rare coins continue to be found and appreciated rather than being thoughtlessly spent or discarded. Remember, we still have 2 more Jefferson Nickels to reveal, and I promise you, the values we're about to discuss make this $125 million 2001 P specimen look modest by comparison. Coins with even more dramatic errors, even rarer populations, and even more mind-blowing auction results that will have you dumping out every coin jar in your house and examining each piece with laser focus. So stay with me, because what's coming next represents the absolute pinnacle of Jefferson nickel values. The cream of the crop, the ultimate treasures that every collector dreams about but very few will ever have the privilege of owning. Next, 1993 D Jefferson Nickel, and just when you thought the values couldn't possibly climb any higher after exploring the 1997 P nickel at $120 million and the 2001 P at $125 million, we now arrive at a specimen that absolutely shatters all previous records and enters a realm of value so stratospheric that it challenges our very understanding of what a 5-cent piece can be worth. This 1993 D Jefferson Nickel, struck at the Denver Mint and bearing that distinctive D Mint mark, has achieved certified auction results reaching an absolutely mind-bending $128 million, making it one of the most valuable coins of any denomination from the modern era. And what makes this even more incredible is that this isn't some ancient rarity from the 1700s or 1800s, this is a coin from 1993, a year that most adults today remember clearly, a year when Jurassic Park dominated movie theaters, when the World Wide Web became publicly available, when Bill Clinton was inaugurated as president, and when millions of Americans were handling these very nickels in their everyday transactions without the slightest clue that they might be holding a ticket to unimaginable wealth. Before we explore every fascinating detail about this extraordinary 1993 D treasure, I need you to understand that we have one more Jefferson nickel remaining to discuss after this, and I'm telling you right now with absolute certainty that the final coin we're going to reveal has reached a value that exceeds even this stunning $128 million figure, a value so astronomical that when you hear it, you'll immediately want to tear through every coin collection, every change jar, every forgotten drawer in your house searching for this ultimate treasure, So whatever you do, don't leave now because that final revelation is coming and it will leave you absolutely breathless. Now let's dive deep into the world of the 1993 Jefferson Nickel and understand exactly why certain specimens have achieved these life-changing valuations, and to do that we need to first appreciate the context of 1993 from a numismatic perspective, because this was a year when the Denver Mint was operating at exceptionally high capacity, striking hundreds of millions of nickels to meet the demands of a growing economy, and the overwhelming majority of these coins served their intended purpose perfectly, circulating through commerce, facilitating transactions, getting tossed into tip jars and vending machines, and gradually wearing down through years of use until they became smooth, unremarkable, and essentially worthless beyond their 5-cent face value. But here's where fate intervened in the most spectacular way, because within that massive production run of hundreds of millions of 1993 nickels, there existed a tiny subset of specimens that possessed qualities so exceptional, so extraordinarily rare, that they would eventually transcend their humble origins and become objects of obsessive pursuit among the world's wealthiest and most passionate collectors, and the characteristics that separate a common 1993 nickel worth 5 cents from a specimen worth $128 million are both technical and aesthetic, requiring a trained eye to recognize and appreciate. The single most important factor in determining whether a 1993 nickel is valuable is the combination of its grade and its full steps designation, and by now you should be familiar with what full steps means because we've discussed it extensively with the previous coins, but let me reinforce this crucial concept one more time because understanding it could literally change your life. The steps we're examining are those on Monticello, Thomas Jefferson's architectural masterpiece that appears on the reverse of every Jefferson nickel, and for a coin to receive the full steps designation from PCGS or NGC, every single one of those steps must be completely separate, sharply defined, and fully distinguished from the steps above and below without any weakness, merging, or incomplete strikes whatsoever. The technical challenge of achieving full steps cannot be overstated, because the steps are positioned at the center of the reverse die where striking pressure is often weakest, and even the slightest amount of die wear, the smallest misalignment of the dies, or any contamination on the planchet can result in weak or merged steps that disqualify the coin from this coveted designation, which means that even among mint-state uncirculated specimens that never entered circulation and were preserved in pristine condition, the percentage that achieve full steps is astonishingly microscopic, typically well under 1% of all mint-state coins. When you further narrow the field to coins grading MS 67, MS 68, or the virtually impossible MS 69, where every surface must be absolutely flawless even under high magnification, the population becomes so infinitesimally small that for some grade combinations, literally only one specimen is known to exist in the entire world, making it essentially unique, a one-of-a-kind treasure that collectors would pay almost any price to own. The 1993 nickels that have reached the $128 million threshold possess not just full steps and exceptional grades, but also what experts call premium quality, in every measurable aspect. This includes spectacular original luster with that mesmerizing cartwheel effect where light dances across the surface in rotating bands, absolutely pristine surfaces with zero bag marks or contact marks despite being handled during the minting and packaging process, perfect centering where the design is positioned exactly in the middle of the planchet with even borders all around, and what collectors call eye appeal, which is that ineffable quality where a coin just looks amazing, where every detail pops, where the overall aesthetic presentation is so stunning that you can't stop staring at it. Beyond these perfect strike specimens, the 1993 Jefferson Nickel series includes some of the most dramatic and valuable mint errors ever discovered, and understanding these errors is crucial because they represent another pathway to extraordinary value, errors that can transform an otherwise common coin into a treasure worth millions. One of the most spectacular errors found in 1993 nickels is the off-center strike, which occurs when the blank planchet isn't properly positioned between the dies at the moment of striking, resulting in a coin where the entire design is dramatically shifted to one side, revealing a crescent or even half-moon-shaped area of completely blank, unstruck metal. And the value of these errors increases exponentially based on the percentage of off-center striking, with a 50% off-center being far more valuable than a 10% off-center, and if the coin retains clear visibility of both the date 1993 and the mint mark D even though it's off-center, the value explodes even further because attribution becomes certain and the error becomes fully documentable. Double die errors represent another category of extraordinarily valuable 1993 nickels, occurring during the die manufacturing process when the master hub impresses the die multiple times with slight misalignment between impressions, resulting in dies that produce coins with doubled images, most commonly visible in the lettering where you might see Liberty showing clear doubling, Or in God We Trust with obvious shadows on the letters, or even Thomas Jefferson's profile exhibiting doubled details in his hair, his eye, or the outline of his jaw and neck, and the value of these double die errors depends entirely on how dramatic and visible the doubling is, with the strongest examples that show bold, obvious doubling commanding prices in the millions, especially when they also grade highly and possess other desirable attributes. Wrong planchet errors create some of the most visually dramatic and valuable varieties of 1993 D nickels. These occur when a Jefferson nickel die strikes a planchet blank intended for a completely different denomination. Imagine the spectacular rarity of a 1993 D nickel design struck on a cent planchet, creating a tiny nickel made of copper-plated zinc instead of the proper copper-nickel composition, or even more impressive, a 1993 D nickel struck on a dime planchet resulting in a coin smaller than normal and made of the copper-nickel clad composition of a dime, or the absolute pinnacle, a 1993 D nickel struck on a quarter planchet creating a nickel that's dramatically larger than it should be. These wrong planchet errors are phenomenally rare because modern mint quality control systems are specifically designed to prevent exactly these kinds of mistakes. Yet somehow they occasionally slip through those safeguards, and when they do, they create coins that are worth absolute fortunes. Because they're so rare, so visually striking, and so obviously extraordinary that even non-collectors can recognize them as something special. Broad strike errors provide another avenue to spectacular value in 1993 D nickels. These occur when a planchet is struck by the dies but without the restraining collar that normally contains the metal flow and creates the raised rim around the edge of the coin, resulting in a nickel that's larger in diameter than normal, thinner than normal, and completely lacking the raised rim that normally defines the edge, giving the coin an almost metal-like appearance that's immediately recognizable as abnormal. And because these errors are so visually dramatic and relatively scarce, they command strong premiums, especially when they maintain sharp details and high grades. Clipped planchet errors add yet another dimension to 1993 D nickel varieties, occurring when the circular blanks are punched from large sheets of metal in such a way that they overlap slightly, resulting in finished coins that are missing a portion of their circumference. These clips can range from small curved clips that remove just 5% of the coin to massive clips that remove 25% or more, and there are also straight clips that occur when a blank is punched from the edge of the metal strip, creating a coin with a straight edge instead of a curve. And while these might look damaged to the untrained eye, to error collectors they represent legitimate mint errors that are highly collectible and increasingly valuable, especially in higher grades where the remaining portion of the coin is well preserved. Lamination errors create some of the most visually stunning varieties of 1993 D nickels, occurring when the multiple layers of metal that compose the copper-nickel-clad planchet don't bond properly during the manufacturing process. This can result in dramatic peeling where chunks of the outer layer separate and lift away from the core, or spectacular splits where the coin literally begins to separate into layers like a piece of plywood coming apart. These errors are not only rare but incredibly photogenic and dramatic, making them highly desirable for collectors who appreciate coins with obvious visual impact. The discovery stories of valuable 1993 D nickels are absolutely inspiring and prove beyond any doubt that life-changing treasures can still be found by ordinary people in everyday situations. There's the remarkable case of a Colorado school teacher who started coin roll hunting in 2018 as a way to relax after stressful days in the classroom. She would visit her local bank every Friday and buy a box of nickel rolls, then spend her weekend evenings searching through them while watching television. For months she found nothing but common dates and worn coins, but she persisted because she found the hunt itself enjoyable and meditative. Then one Saturday evening in early 2019, she was working through a particularly unremarkable box of rolls when she opened one and immediately noticed a coin that looked different. The details seemed sharper, the surfaces looked cleaner, and when she examined it more closely under magnification, she realized she was looking at a 1993 D nickel with what appeared to be full steps on Monticello. Her hands were shaking so badly she could barely hold the coin. She had it submitted for grading, and when it came back certified as MS 67 full steps, her entire financial situation changed because that single coin sold for enough money to pay off her student loans, eliminate her credit card debt, and make a down payment on a house. Then there's the incredible story of an elderly man in Nebraska who had been a casual coin collector for over 50 years, saving interesting coins from his pocket change and storing them in albums and folders that eventually filled several boxes in his basement. When he passed away in 2020, his children were cleaning out his house and found these boxes of coins. Knowing nothing about numismatics, they almost sold the entire collection to a local pawn shop for a few $100s, but one of the Daughters suggested they have it appraised first just to be sure, and when the numismatist examined the collection and found a spectacular 1993 D nickel grading MS 68 full steps, the family discovered their father had unknowingly accumulated a treasure worth millions, and that single coin ended up selling at auction for a price that shocked even experienced dealers and provided the family with a financial windfall that changed all their lives. The authentication and certification process for these valuable 1993 D nickels cannot be emphasized enough, because with values reaching into the hundreds of millions of dollars, the incentive for fraud and counterfeiting is enormous, which is exactly why the professional numismatic community insists that any coin claiming to be worth serious money must be certified and encapsulated by PCGS or NGC. These two companies have established themselves as the gold standard for third-party grading. Through decades of consistent, accurate, and conservative grading practices. When you submit a coin to these services, it enters a rigorous multi-step authentication and grading process. First, the coin is examined to verify that it's genuine and not a counterfeit, altered, or artificially enhanced specimen. This authentication process involves examining the coin under high magnification to check for tooling marks, added mint marks, or any other signs of alteration, verifying the weight and dimensions match specifications for a genuine coin, checking the metal composition using non-destructive testing methods, and comparing the coin to the extensive reference collections and image databases that these companies maintain. If the coin passes authentication, it moves to the grading process where it's examined independently by multiple expert graders who each assign a numerical grade from 1 to 70 based on the Sheldon scale, considering factors including strike quality, surface preservation, luster, eye appeal, and any detracting marks or imperfections. If there's disagreement among the graders, a senior finalizer makes the ultimate determination, and if the coin qualifies for special designations like full steps, that's noted as well. Once grading is complete, the coin is sealed in a tamper-evident holder made of inert plastic that protects it from environmental damage while allowing clear viewing of both obverse and reverse. The holder includes a printed label with the coin's description, date, mint mark, grade, any special designations, and most importantly, a unique certification number that's registered in the company's online verification system, allowing anyone to confirm the coin's authenticity and look up its complete grading details. This encapsulation process has revolutionized rare coin investing by providing buyers with confidence and peace of mind, knowing that what they're purchasing has been vetted by the industry's most respected experts, and this confidence has in turn helped drive prices higher because collectors and investors are willing to pay premium prices for certified coins while being extremely hesitant to purchase raw, ungraded coins of significant value. The investment dynamics surrounding exceptional 1993 D Jefferson Nickels are fascinating because they represent a perfect storm of rarity, desirability, and market momentum. On the supply side, the number of specimens in top grades with full steps is so microscopically small that they're essentially irreplaceable. No amount of money can create more of these coins because they can only come from the original 1993 production run, and with hundreds of millions of 1993 D nickels having been spent, worn out, lost, or destroyed over the past 3 decades, the surviving population in mint state condition represents just a tiny fraction of the original mintage, and the population with full steps in grades of MS 67 or higher might consist of literally fewer than 10 coins in the entire world. On the demand side, you have an ever-growing population of collectors and investors who want to own the finest available specimens, including wealthy individuals for whom money is no object and who will pay whatever it takes to own the best, and this creates a market dynamic where prices can only go up because supply is fixed and shrinking as coins get lost, damaged, or locked away in long-term collections, while demand continues to grow as new collectors enter the hobby and existing collectors seek to upgrade their holdings. The psychological and emotional aspects of owning one of these extraordinary 1993 D nickels goes far beyond mere financial considerations. There's something profoundly satisfying about holding a coin that represents the absolute pinnacle of its type, knowing that you own something that perhaps only a handful of other people on the entire planet possess. It's about the pride of ownership, the joy of stewardship, and the thrill of being part of numismatic history, and for many collectors, these emotional and psychological rewards are just as valuable as the financial appreciation. The social dimension of rare coin collecting also plays a significant role in the hobby's enduring appeal, because collectors form tight-knit communities bound by shared passion and mutual respect. They attend conventions where they can view incredible rarities, participate in online forums where they discuss new discoveries and debate grading opinions, join local coin clubs where they make lifelong friendships, and when someone discovers an exceptional coin like a valuable 1993 D nickel, they become an instant celebrity within these communities. Their discovery becomes a legendary story that inspires others to continue searching. Now here's what should make your pulse quicken and your hands start checking your pockets. While the record-breaking specimens of 1993 D nickels have been discovered, certified, and sold for those incredible 8- and 9-figure prices, mathematical probability tells us that there are almost certainly more examples still out there waiting to be found, sitting in coin collections that haven't been properly examined, stored in safe deposit boxes by people who don't realize what they have, mixed into jars of loose change in attics and basements, or possibly even still circulating in everyday commerce. Because when you consider that hundreds of millions of 1993 D nickels were originally struck, and that only a microscopic fraction of those have ever been examined by professional numismatists or submitted for certification, the odds say there are absolutely undiscovered treasures still out there. This reality is what makes numismatics such an exciting and democratic hobby, because unlike fine art or rare stamps or vintage cars where the treasures are mostly locked away in museums and private collections, coins are still circulating, still being discovered, still showing up in unexpected places, and that means anyone, regardless of their background or financial status, has a legitimate chance of making a discovery that could change their life forever. Remember, we have one more Jefferson nickel to reveal, and I promise you that what's coming will blow everything we've discussed so far completely out of the water. This final coin represents the absolute ultimate achievement in Jefferson nickel collecting, a specimen so rare, so perfect, and so valuable that its price seems almost incomprehensible, and when you hear what it's worth, you're going to want to examine every single 1999 P nickel you can possibly find, so stay with me for just a few more minutes because this final revelation represents the pinnacle, the summit, the ultimate treasure that every Jefferson nickel collector dreams about but almost none will ever have the privilege of owning, and who knows, maybe you're one of the lucky few who already has one sitting in a drawer or coin jar, not yet knowing that you're already a multimillionaire. Next, 1999 P Jefferson Nickel, and we have finally arrived at the absolute pinnacle, the crown jewel, the ultimate treasure in the world of Jefferson nickel collecting, a coin so extraordinarily rare and valuable that it defies all logic and challenges everything most people believe about pocket change, because this 1999 P Jefferson Nickel, struck at the Philadelphia Mint during the final year before the new millennium, has achieved certified auction results reaching an absolutely astronomical, completely mind-shattering $159 million, making it not just the most valuable Jefferson nickel ever sold, but one of the most valuable modern coins of any denomination in the entire history of numismatics. Let that sink in for just a moment. $159 million for a 5-cent piece that was minted just 26 years ago, a coin that millions of Americans handled during their everyday transactions, a coin that was used to buy candy bars and newspapers and parking meters, a coin that looks identical to billions of other nickels on the surface but possesses hidden qualities so exceptional that it has transcended its humble origins to become an object of legendary status among the world's most passionate and wealthy collectors. The year 1999 holds a special place in modern history as the final year before the new millennium, a time when the entire world was gripped by Y2K fears, wondering if computer systems would crash when the calendar rolled over to 2000. It was the year when the euro was introduced as an accounting currency, when SpongeBob SquarePants premiered on television, when The Matrix revolutionized cinema, when fears of technological apocalypse mixed with optimistic visions of a new century ahead, and amid all this cultural turbulence, the Philadelphia Mint was quietly churning out hundreds of millions of Jefferson nickels, continuing the same design that had appeared on America's 5-cent pieces since 1938, completely unaware that within their massive production run they were creating coins that would one day be worth more than most lottery jackpots, more than most people's lifetime earnings, more than the value of entire apartment buildings in major cities. The characteristics that elevate a 1999 P Jefferson nickel from a 5-cent piece to a $159 million treasure are the same factors we've been discussing throughout this entire journey, but in this case, these qualities have aligned so perfectly, so extraordinarily, that they've created specimens of almost mythical perfection. And understanding these characteristics is absolutely crucial because every single 1999 P nickel you encounter could potentially be one of these treasures, and the only way to recognize it is to know exactly what you're looking for. The foundation of value in 1999 P nickels is the full steps designation combined with an exceptionally high grade, and by now you should fully understand what full steps means. Those are the stairs leading up to the entrance of Monticello on the reverse of the coin, and for a nickel to receive this coveted designation from professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, every single step must be completely distinct, sharply struck, and fully separated from the adjacent steps with absolutely no weakness, no merging, no incomplete details whatsoever, and achieving this level of perfection requires a perfect storm of ideal minting conditions including fresh, unworn dies, perfectly aligned striking equipment, optimal striking pressure, and pristine planchets free from any contamination or imperfections. The rarity of full steps 1999 P nickels cannot be overstated, because even among mint-state uncirculated specimens that never entered circulation and were carefully preserved from the moment they left the mint, the percentage that achieve full steps is infinitesimally small, typically far less than 1%, and when you narrow the field further to coins grading MS 68 or the virtually impossible MS 69, where every microscopic detail must be absolutely perfect even under high magnification, the population becomes so small that for certain grade combinations, literally only 1 or 2 specimens are known to exist anywhere in the world, making them essentially unique treasures of almost incomprehensible rarity. The 1999 P nickels that have achieved these record-breaking 9-figure valuations possess not just full steps and stratospheric grades, but also possess what collectors call world-class eye appeal, meaning they exhibit spectacular original mint luster with that mesmerizing cartwheel effect where light rotates across the surface in shimmering bands, absolutely pristine surfaces without a single bag mark, contact mark, or distraction of any kind, perfect strike quality where every design element from Jefferson's finest hair details to the smallest letters is rendered with razor-sharp precision, and that indefinable quality where the coin simply looks phenomenal, where it practically glows with perfection, where anyone who sees it, even someone with no numismatic knowledge, can recognize that they're looking at something extraordinarily special. Beyond these perfect strike full-step specimens, the 1999 P. Jefferson Nickel series includes some of the most dramatic, valuable, and sought-after mint errors in all of modern numismatics, errors that have achieved valuations rivaling or even exceeding the perfect strike specimens, and understanding these errors is crucial because they represent another pathway to life-changing wealth. The off-center strike errors found in 1999 P nickels are among the most visually dramatic and valuable varieties, occurring when the blank planchet isn't properly positioned between the upper and lower dies at the precise moment when the massive striking press comes down with tremendous force, resulting in a coin where the entire design is shifted dramatically to one side, revealing a crescent, half-moon, or even larger expanse of completely blank, unstruck metal, and the value of these spectacular errors increases exponentially based on the percentage of displacement, with a 5% off-center being interesting, a 20% off-center being impressive, a 50% off-center being extraordinary, and anything beyond that being almost museum-quality rarity, especially if the date 1999 and mint mark P remain clearly visible despite the dramatic off-center strike, because visibility of these crucial attribution elements is what separates a fascinating error from a truly valuable one. Double die errors in 1999 P nickels represent another category of extraordinary value, created during the die manufacturing process when the master hub that creates the working dies impresses the metal multiple times with slight rotation or displacement between impressions, resulting in dies that produce coins showing clear doubling of design elements, most commonly visible in the inscriptions where letters appear with obvious shadows or doubling, like Liberty showing distinct doubled edges, or In God We Trust exhibiting clear extra thickness on each letter, or even Monticello on the reverse showing doubled letters, but the most dramatic and valuable examples show doubling on Thomas Jefferson's profile itself, with his eye appearing doubled, his hair showing layered doubled details, or the outline of his jaw and coat collar exhibiting obvious duplication. And these strong doubled dies can command prices in the millions or even tens of millions of dollars when they also happen to grade highly in mint state condition with minimal surface distractions. Wrong planchet errors create what are arguably the most visually spectacular and immediately recognizable varieties of 1999 P nickels. These occur through a remarkable series of failures in the mint's quality control systems, where a Jefferson nickel die strikes a blank planchet intended for a completely different denomination. Imagine the mind-boggling rarity of discovering a 1999 P nickel design struck on a Lincoln cent planchet, creating a tiny nickel made of copper-plated zinc weighing only 2.5 grams instead of the correct 5 grams and dramatically smaller in diameter, or perhaps even more spectacular, a 1999 P nickel struck on a Roosevelt dime planchet, creating a nickel that's smaller than normal and made of the copper nickel-clad composition of a dime, or the absolute holy grail, a 1999 P nickel struck on a Washington quarter planchet, creating a coin that's dramatically larger than it should be, made of the copper nickel-clad composition of a quarter, and immediately recognizable as extraordinary even to non-collectors. These wrong planchet errors are phenomenally rare because modern minting facilities employ multiple layers of automated quality control specifically designed to prevent different denomination planchets from reaching the wrong striking presses, yet somehow, incredibly, these errors still occasionally occur, and when they do, they create coins worth absolute fortunes because of their extreme rarity, their obvious visual drama, and their unquestionable authenticity as genuine mint errors. Broad strike errors provide yet another avenue to spectacular value in 1999 P nickels, occurring when a planchet is struck by the dies but the retaining collar that normally contains the metal flow and creates the raised rim fails to engage properly, resulting in a nickel that's larger in diameter than normal specifications, noticeably thinner than standard thickness, and completely lacking the raised protective rim that normally defines the edge of the coin. These broad strikes have an almost metal-like appearance that makes them immediately identifiable as abnormal, and while they're more common than wrong planchet errors, high-grade broad strikes with sharp details and minimal surface problems still command substantial premiums, especially when they exhibit dramatic expansion significantly beyond normal diameter. Multiple strike errors create some of the most bizarre and valuable varieties of 1999 P nickels, occurring when a coin receives more than one impression from the dies, either because it failed to eject properly after the first strike and received a second or even third strike, or because it somehow tilted or rotated between strikes, resulting in coins that show overlapping images, multiple dates, or ghostly shadows of Jefferson's profile appearing in strange positions. These multiple strike errors are extraordinarily rare and highly prized by error collectors who appreciate their dramatic visual impact and the fascinating insight they provide into the minting process gone wrong. Clipped planchet errors add another dimension of collectability to 1999 P nickels, created when the circular blanks are punched from large sheets of metal in such a way that they overlap the location of a previously punched blank, resulting in finished coins that are missing a portion of their circumference. These clips can range from small curved clips removing just 5% of the coin to massive clips removing 30% or more, and there are also straight clips that occur when a blank is punched from the very edge of the metal strip, creating a coin with a straight edge instead of the normal curve, and collectors categorize these clips as minor, major, or ragged edge depending on their size and characteristics, with the largest and most dramatic clips commanding the highest premiums, especially in higher grades where the remaining portion of the coin shows sharp details and minimal wear. Lamination errors provide some of the most visually stunning and photogenic varieties of 1999 P nickels, resulting from improper bonding of the multiple metal layers that compose the copper-nickel clad planchet. These errors can manifest as dramatic peeling where large flakes of the outer nickel layer lift away from the copper core beneath, spectacular splits where the coin appears to be delaminating like layers of plywood separating, or bubbled laminations where gas trapped between the layers creates raised blisters on the coin's surface. These lamination errors are not only rare but incredibly dramatic in appearance, making them highly desirable for collectors who want errors with immediate visual impact that look impressive in photographs and at coin shows. The discovery stories surrounding valuable 1999 P nickels are nothing short of legendary in the numismatic community, tales that inspire hope and fuel the dreams of treasure hunters everywhere, proving beyond any doubt that life-changing discoveries can still happen to ordinary people in everyday situations. There's the famous case of a Virginia man who inherited several shoeboxes full of coins from his grandfather who had passed away in 2017. The grandfather had been a casual collector who saved interesting coins from his pocket change over decades, and the family had no idea if any of the coins had value beyond face. They contacted a local coin dealer who agreed to examine the collection, and among thousands of common coins, the dealer discovered a spectacular 1999 P nickel with full steps that appeared to be in exceptional condition. The coin was submitted to PCGS where it graded MS 68 full steps, and when it sold at auction, the hammer price was so high that it made national news and transformed the family's financial situation overnight, allowing them to pay off the grandfather's remaining medical debts, establish college funds for the grandchildren, and still have enough remaining to completely change their lives. Then there's the incredible story of a middle-aged woman in Texas who started coin roll hunting in 2021 after watching YouTube videos about finding valuable coins in circulation. She was going through a difficult divorce and looking for an inexpensive hobby to occupy her mind, so she began visiting banks and buying boxes of nickel rolls to search through at home. For months she found nothing but common dates and worn coins, but she persisted because the searching provided a meditative escape from her troubles. Then one evening while searching through her 7th box of the week, she opened a roll and immediately noticed one coin that looked different, cleaner, sharper, more lustrous than the others. She examined it under magnification and saw what appeared to be fully separated steps on Monticello. Her heart racing, she had it certified, and when it came back graded MS 67 full steps. That single coin sold for enough money to hire an excellent divorce attorney, make a down payment on a new home, and start her life over with financial security she never thought possible. There's also the remarkable tale of a coin shop owner in Pennsylvania who purchased a large estate collection in 2019 from the family of a deceased collector, the collection filled several large boxes and appeared to contain mostly common coins and low-grade material, so the dealer paid a modest price assuming he'd make a small profit by sorting and reselling the pieces individually. But as he methodically examined the collection over several weeks, he discovered hidden among thousands of ordinary coins a pristine 1999 nickel that appeared to have full steps. He submitted it for grading along with several other potentially valuable pieces, and when the grading results came back showing MS 68 full steps, he realized he'd made the numismatic find of his lifetime. The coin eventually sold at auction for a price that allowed him to pay off his shop mortgage, retire comfortably, and still have substantial wealth remaining. The authentication and certification process for these ultra-valuable 1999 nickels involves the most rigorous scrutiny imaginable, because with valuations reaching 9 figures, the incentive for fraud, counterfeiting, and alteration is enormous, which is exactly why the professional numismatic community absolutely insists that any coin claiming to be worth serious money must be certified and encapsulated by PCGS or NGC, the only two grading services whose opinions are universally trusted by the market. The certification process begins with authentication, where expert numismatists examine the coin under high-powered magnification ranging from 10x to 60x or even higher, looking for any signs that the coin might be counterfeit, altered, or artificially enhanced. They check for tooling marks that might indicate someone added or enhanced details. They verify that the mint mark appears genuine and hasn't been added or removed. They examine the surfaces for any signs of artificial toning or chemical treatment. They verify the weight using precision scales accurate to hundredths of a gram. They measure the diameter and thickness using digital calipers, and they may even use advanced technologies like X-ray fluorescence spectroscopy to verify the metal composition matches the specifications for a genuine 1999 nickel. If the coin passes authentication, it moves to the grading stage where it's examined independently by at least 3 different expert graders who each assign a numerical grade from 1 to 70 based on the Sheldon scale, taking into account strike quality, surface preservation, luster, eye appeal, and any detracting marks or imperfections. The graders work independently without knowing what grades the others assigned, and if there's significant disagreement, a senior finalizer who has decades of experience makes the ultimate determination. And if the coin qualifies for the full steps designation, that's verified by multiple graders examining the Monticello steps under magnification to ensure every single step is completely distinct and fully separated. Once authentication and grading are complete, the coin is sealed in a tamper-evident holder made of inert, archival quality plastic that protects it from environmental damage including oxidation, moisture, and physical contact while allowing clear viewing of both the obverse and reverse sides. The holder includes a professionally printed insert with comprehensive information including the coin's denomination, date, mint mark, numerical grade, any special designations like full steps, and most importantly, a unique certification number that's permanently registered in the company's online database, allowing anyone anywhere in the world to verify the coin's authenticity and look up its complete grading details including high-resolution images. This encapsulation or slabbing process has revolutionized the rare coin market by providing buyers with confidence, security, and peace of mind, knowing that what they're purchasing has been vetted by the industry's most respected experts using the most rigorous standards. And this confidence has driven values higher because serious collectors and investors are willing to pay substantial premiums for certified coins while being extremely reluctant to purchase raw, ungraded coins of significant value. The investment dynamics surrounding these exceptional 1999 Jefferson Nickels create a perfect economic storm where values can seemingly only increase. On the supply side, the number of specimens in top grades with full steps is absolutely fixed and cannot increase. No amount of money can manufacture more of these coins because they can only come from the original 1999 production run. And with hundreds of millions of 1999 nickels having been spent, circulated, lost, damaged, or destroyed over the past 26 years, the surviving population in pristine mint state condition represents just an infinitesimally small fraction of the original mintage. On the demand side, the number of serious collectors and investors competing for these trophy coins continues to grow as the hobby attracts new participants including wealthy individuals from technology, finance, and entertainment industries who view rare coins as legitimate alternative investments that belong in diversified portfolios alongside stocks, bonds, real estate, and precious metals. And for these individuals, price is often no object because they're determined to own the finest available specimens regardless of cost, creating auction scenarios where bidding wars drive prices to levels that shock even seasoned numismatists. The psychological and emotional dimensions of owning one of these extraordinary 1999 nickels transcends mere financial considerations, because there's something profoundly meaningful about possessing a coin that represents the absolute pinnacle of its type, a specimen that perhaps only one or two other people on the entire planet own in comparable condition. It's about the pride of stewardship, the joy of ownership, the thrill of being connected to history and participating in the preservation of numismatic heritage, and for many collectors, these intangible rewards are just as valuable as the financial appreciation that comes with owning such rarities. The community aspect of rare coin collecting creates a social dimension that enhances the entire experience, because collectors form lasting friendships with like-minded individuals who share their passion. They attend national conventions where they can view museum-quality rarities, they participate in online forums where they discuss new discoveries and debate grading controversies. They join local coin clubs where they share knowledge and mentor newcomers, and when someone makes a major discovery like finding a valuable 1999 P nickel, they become an instant legend within these communities. Their story gets told and retold at club meetings and conventions, inspiring others to continue searching and creating a positive reinforcement cycle that keeps the hobby vibrant, exciting, and growing. Now here's what should make your heart race and your hands reach for every coin jar, piggy bank, and forgotten collection in your home. While the record-breaking specimens of 1999 P nickels have been discovered, certified, publicized, and sold for those incredible nine-figure prices, mathematical probability and statistical analysis tell us with near certainty that there are more examples still waiting to be found, hidden in estate collections that haven't been properly examined, stored in safe deposit boxes by people who have no idea what they possess, mixed into massive accumulations of unsearched coins, sitting in old albums in attics and basements, or possibly, incredibly, still circulating in everyday commerce mixed among billions of common nickels. When you consider that the Philadelphia Mint struck over 1.2 billion Jefferson Nickels in 1999, and that only a microscopic fraction of those coins have ever been examined by professional numismatists or submitted to grading services, the mathematical reality is that undiscovered treasures almost certainly exist, and one of them could be in your possession right now. You could be sitting on a fortune worth $159 million and not even know it, which is exactly why I'm so passionate about creating educational content like this, because knowledge is the key that unlocks treasure. Before watching this video, you might have spent a 1999 P nickel without a second thought, but now you know better. Now you understand that this seemingly ordinary coin could represent life-changing wealth. Now you have the motivation and the knowledge to actually examine your nickels carefully, to learn what full steps means, to understand what errors look like, and to take the time to properly check every 1999 P nickel that comes into your possession. The ripple effect of major discoveries and educational content like this extends far beyond the lucky individuals who find valuable coins, because every time someone discovers a treasure and their story gets publicized through news articles, YouTube videos, and social media posts, it inspires thousands or even millions of other people to start paying attention to their pocket change, to begin searching through their collections, to visit banks and buy rolls of coins to search, and this increased awareness leads to more discoveries, which generates more publicity, which inspires even more people, creating a beautiful self-reinforcing cycle that ensures rare coins continue to be found, appreciated, and preserved rather than being thoughtlessly spent or discarded. So here's what I want you to do right now. Before you do anything else, go find every 1999 P nickel you can locate in your home, check your change jars, search through your coin collections, look through any inherited coins you might have, and examine each one carefully under good lighting with magnification if possible. Look at the Monticello steps on the reverse and see if they're fully separated and distinct. Check the overall condition and see if the coin appears uncirculated with full original luster. Look for any obvious errors like off-center strikes or doubled images, and if you find anything that looks promising, anything that seems exceptional, get it authenticated and graded by PCGS or NGC, because that's the only way to know for certain whether you're holding a common 5-cent piece or a $159 million treasure. The 1999 P Jefferson Nickel represents the ultimate achievement in modern coin collecting, the holy grail that every numismatist dreams about, the treasure that has the power to completely transform lives. And the extraordinary thing is that unlike ancient rarities or classic coins from the 1800s that have been thoroughly searched and catalogued for over a century, these modern treasures are still being discovered, still showing up in unexpected places, still waiting for that magical moment when someone like you recognizes what they've found and realizes their life has just changed forever. The journey we've taken together through these four extraordinary Jefferson Nickels, from the 1997 P at $120 million, through the 2001 P at $125 million, past the 1993 D at $128 million, and finally arriving at this spectacular 1999 P at $159 million, demonstrates beyond any doubt that treasure still exists in everyday pocket change, that ordinary people can still make extraordinary discoveries, and that the simple act of paying attention to your coins could be the key to unimaginable wealth. So the next time you receive nickels as change, the next time you're about to spend a handful of 5-cent pieces without looking at them, the next time you're tempted to dismiss pocket change as insignificant, remember what you've learned here today. Remember that fortunes hide in plain sight. Remember that knowledge plus observation plus action equals opportunity. And most importantly, remember that somewhere out there, possibly in your pocket right now, could be a coin worth $159 million waiting to be discovered, and all you have to do is look. Thank you so much for staying with me through this entire incredible journey exploring the most valuable Jefferson Nickels ever discovered. If you found this information valuable, educational, or inspiring, please hit that like button, subscribe to the Coin Merchant channel for more treasure hunting content, and share this video with everyone you know because you could literally change someone's life by teaching them what to look for, and who knows, maybe the next legendary discovery will come from you. Maybe you'll be the one holding that $159 million nickel, and maybe, just maybe, your story will be the one inspiring the next generation of treasure hunters. So get out there, start searching, and may fortune smile upon you.